Hello there, today I'm out on the Hoo Peninsula once again in Cliffe, a place that we've done many videos on before. We've got lots of articles on our website of interesting places around here, but today I've come back to see one last thing that I've not seen yet. Now Joe and I, we've explored the Hoo Peninsula, a fascinating part of the Thames Estuary, many times. And I want to try and get one photo of every interesting historic site or hidden historic ruin in this area and make like a nice photo set from over the years eventually. I want to go and get a photo of this one place, and it's not the most impressive, but it is very overlooked, and I don't think people generally know much about it or have photographed it or videoed it very much before. This is a bit of the Thames Estuary on the south side in Kent, opposite Joe and I's home area of Essex. And I think I like this area because it reminds me much of the marshes and the area around where we grew up in Essex, but a lot less developed, similar to how it might have looked a few hundred years ago. There's not any big railways or big towns really around here, so it's a lot more desolate feeling. And it's definitely got a feel of some sort of old Dickensian wasteland. So we're going today to a place called Lower Hope Point. And we're going to be looking at Lower Hope Battery or Hope Point Battery. It's got many variations of the name, and to make it more confusing, it was an old battery dating back to the sort of early mid 1800s, I believe. Then it was a pub was built over it called the Anchor and Hope pub, which, how cool is that? A pub built on a gun battery. And then after that, another battery was built in 1898, and that's the base of what we're going to be looking at today. And this was a 12-pounder gun battery with two naval guns protecting the River Thames. So we're going to try and find a concrete base out in the mud that's still left from this battery, and it's probably one of the most overlooked bits of history in this area, given that you've got the Cliffe explosive factory, Cliffe Fort, some of the old cement kilns and all sorts of interesting stuff in this area. But you know, we're not going to leave a stone unturned, so let's go and find it.
Walking through the area of Cliffe Pools, an area once rich in industry but now returned to nature, I came to the site of a cement works known as the Pottery. It operated from 1854 to 1886 and saw the construction of as many as 16 bottle kilns, known for their distinctive conical shape. Today the structures have been demolished, but the mass of rubble and foundations is an obvious giveaway.
So if you're a long-term fan, we're coming up to 10 years on since we did a camping trip, and we camped in this bit of land somewhere to the right of me here. We did this sort of iconic Kent camping trip that I know is a bit of a favourite of the long-term viewers, and we went to Shawmead Fort, Newtown Fort, Cliffe Fort and Explosive Factory, and we camped out in the middle, and it was an amazing trip. That was the first time we'd explored in Kent. I was only 16, so we were quite young, and it was awesome. And it's just a lovely area to be a part of and to have a walk in, really.
Opposite lies the ruins of the Nine Elms kilns, an active gravel works and jetty, and next to it Cliffe Fort.
Now it's a bit of a race against time this, because the low tide was at 4 o'clock and it's now about 5:15, so I'm hoping we can still see it because it is out beyond the seawall. The seawall was actually abandoned around the battery in the 80s and 90s, I think, around the turn of 1990, and they brought the seawall inland and let the battery become part of the river, hence why it's now out ruined in the Thames. So if I'm right, I'm reading on my phone, the original Lower Hope battery was actually much further up in the corner of the seawall, really on the corner of where the old explosive factory is now. So you might think, was it really worth coming all this way for a bit of concrete? It wouldn't be the first time I've done that, but the reason I've come here is because you can't really walk to the explosive factory from here because there's ditches. It doesn't really lead anywhere, so if you want to see it, you've really got to come specifically all this way to see it. So that's why I've made a trip on my own. I didn't want to put anyone else through the burden of coming all this way to be disappointed, including Joe. So I thought I'd just take a little look and see it. Now guys, if you look carefully over there, you can see what we've come here for. That is the base of part of Lower Hope Point Battery. Let's climb over and take a little look. Got to do this one-handed. Let's go. Now I'm glad this whole bit where the sea wall used to run, you can roughly make it out, but it's much higher than the Thames below it, so it does mean we can walk out there, and the tide isn't going to cover it, which I'm very pleased about. Now I did think to myself, because I'm on my own, if I get stuck in the mud, I'm dead, because the tide is coming in. It's very isolated, and I don't think anyone's going to hear me. But it seems okay, and I've made it. Here we go guys, we're setting foot on the battery. Wow. Now it doesn't look that interesting, but I've heard and read about it for so long. I'm really chuffed to finally get to see it, just to complete the stuff in this area. I mean, it's a stunning little area. I love the Thames Estuary, and you've got an amazing view actually of my home area of Essex in the distance. But yeah, this is the gun battery base, or part of probably one half of it, where they probably mounted the gun on a platform on top of this, perhaps. I don't really know. There's some sort of attachment points here for something, some sort of steel would have gone into that maybe, I don't know. But it is this sort of rectangle with these ridges along it. I'm not entirely sure why it was shaped the strange way that it is shaped. There must have been a reason, but I don't know what that might be. So I've made it to the last bit over here, which is another bit of ruin from the battery. The other piece is over there in the distance. I'm not really sure if that was a bit of the actual gun battery or if it was for a beacon showing where the coastline was. I'm not honestly sure, but at least we've gotten close to it. I'm not going to try and cross this on my own just in case I get stuck, but I think we've seen all that we came here for. Actually, over there is a concrete base, another little interesting piece. So that concludes our adventure out to Lower Hope Point Battery, or any combination of those words. It was really cool to finally get to see it. It wasn't the most impressive, and I totally understand if you thought that was maybe one of the most boring videos going, but the atmosphere out here is amazing. That's what I've tried to capture with both the wildlife, the scenery, especially at sunset here. It's a stunning place. I love the Thames Estuary, and it will always be home, even if I'm over the water in Kent this time rather than Essex. We saw the battery. As I say, the original battery was much further along the coast, which you could see in the distance, and below the point you could see some old jetties which were serving the explosive factory that used to be out on Cliffe marshes, and is still actually ruined across a large part of it. But I think that's going to conclude the video. Thank you for watching this. I appreciate it was a bit more slower paced, but I thought it might be interesting to come out here and take a look. I was umming and ahhing about coming out today on my own. I wasn't really sure if I was feeling it, but I thought let's just do it. And you know, it was so worth it, as it always is. You always find an adventure wherever you go. All you need is one tiny objective sometimes. So thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to Beyond the Point for more videos like this and of bigger and better places, and check out our website beyondthepoint.co.uk, where you can find out a lot of the ruined heritage of the Hoo Peninsula, Kent, Essex and further afield. So that's all for now guys, but thanks for watching. I'll see you wherever the next adventure takes us.